Have you ever been in a pea soup fog? The kind of fog where as you're walking, you're just trying to make sure you can get forward without bumping into somebody, something, or some tree. That's what's going on outside in Vancouver, Canada today. As I do a video all about Neptune, the sea god, but also the god who creates that dry ice kind of fog, which we don't see reality as clearly as we would like. In fact, he has been retrograding backwards ever since July of 2024, and we'll head into direct motion this December 7th. And that's an interesting time, those transitions between the retrograde and the direct, when a planet slows down and stations. And we see a lot of intensity around the words really revealing what was hidden, or taking the rose-colored glasses off. In general, I find Neptune retrograde to be better than Neptune direct, because I feel like I get to see clearly what was hidden below the foggy surface. And that includes such things as the congressional testimonies about unidentified aerial or anomalous phenomena that's been going on in Congress, for example, revealing the truth of, say, the United States election, which candidate had the superior amount of popular appeal and would likely win. Whereas, perhaps before this, maybe if you talked about someone a year or two ago, they would say there's no way in hell that Donald Trump will ever be in office again. But one thing I want to say, and as we go ahead today, I'm going to go a little bit deeper than just this retrograde. I'm going to talk about the big scope of this Pluto story, this Neptune story. So stay tuned. Neptune will leave behind the sign of Pisces, where he has been since 2011, and not return again in our lifetimes. He's 165 years around the zodiac, years around that zodiac sign of Pisces, the heavens, and about 14 years in every single sign. And this is important because we're coming into the last gasp of this Neptune in Pisces narrative. Is almost done, guys. We're going to see Neptune moving into the sign of Aries next year, the end of March, all the way through to October 22nd, giving us a whole new experience of what it might be like to live with something completely fresh that you or me or anybody else here hasn't seen in our lifetimes. And we've coded as souls to say, I want to feel what it's like to live through an Aries Neptune cycle. That's what we decided to do. Also an Aries, also a Pisces Neptune cycle, because we could only get half of the zodiac in any given lifetime. But also, when he is leaving next year, when he is in Aries, he's testing the waters. He's really, really only going about 2 degrees in, but he does finally make the last crash around February 26, perhaps, if my memory serves me, 2026. And we settle in for a 14-year run of Neptune in the sign of Aries. And that's going to be a big deal next year. It's in my deep dive all signs videos for each sign, 2 hours long, how that might impact you. And so if you want to know all about next year, and the idea that you get this teaser taste in 25 about what's going to happen, 2026 had 14 years with Neptune in your Aries whole sign house in your chart, then go get my 2025 All Sides videos bundle. It's in my description box below. 2-hour videos times 12. That's a lot of content, and it's got a PDF guidebook I wrote for each sign. You can download the audio video or just go to the hidden link for the video. So check that in my description box below. If you're new here, my name is Lori Lothian, Western Tropical Zodiac Astrologer, and I love the fixed stars, of course, and I always use the minor asteroids. And we'll be talking today, when we talk about Neptune, how he is hooked up to the asteroid Circe, the witch, who could cast spells and, predict the future. But we're also connected to another asteroid, Forrest, which has to do as well with belief and imagination. And we have a beautiful Sabian symbol sitting with Neptune as well. That Sabian symbol is very wholesome. It's a fertile garden under the full moon. And it goes with elements of satisfaction, manifestation, accomplishment, abundance, and fruitfulness. So we really are going to dive into that Sabian for where the station happens on December the 7th and how that might impact your sign. Now, we're also going to briefly talk about the energy of the world when it comes to Neptune. So if you like this kind of content, hit the like button, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications. I'm going to be doing a deep dive Neptune webinar early next year to prepare us for the ingress of Neptune into the sign of Aries. But before we get to that, there's a few things to tell you. So some very unusual, very rare things are happening with Neptune before he leaves the sign of Pisces. So if you like that kind of deeper dive, stick around for a few minutes. You can always jump to the timestamps for your sign. You can also hit the header of this video, and it gives you the chapters, but try to learn a little bit with me here. These are the Neptune generations, 1928 to 1943. We had Neptune in the sign of Virgo, and you can make stories up about this. One of the books I love is Liz Green, where she writes about in her giant tome of a book. Where are you, Liz Green? Her book might just be called Neptune, The Quest for Redemption. What I like about what she covers in her book is she will talk about what happened during different generations and what people lived through. But just look and see where you might have been born in this storyline, right? Some of you might be going back to 1928 to 43, in which you had Neptune in Virgo, or 1943 to 1957, Neptune in Libra, or in Scorpio, 1957 to 1970, or Sagittarius, 1970, 1984. Some of these are cusp dates. You're going to have to look at an ephemeris to know if you were like on a cusp of 1970, which you were. Capricorn, 1984 to 1988, and the Neptune in Aquarius, 1998 to 2012. And then in Pisces, 2012 to 2025. These all had a different tonal quality to them. And so, for example, in 1957 to 1970, we had the whole era of flower power, and Vietnam War protests were building up in the late 60s. We had sex, drugs, and rock and roll. And there's a lot about glamour, idealization, what we look to for salvation, that is very Neptunian. Capricorn, 1984 to 1998, you might have noticed a lot of heavy movies came in, like Schindler's List, and even Spielberg got away from the Star Wars era of Sagittarius in his movie making into more heavy content like Schindler's List. And ultimately, really, if you look to the movie industry and what films were rocking and rolling through each of these eras, you'll get a real flavor of what Neptune, the god of storytelling and filmography and moving imagery that appears real and is not, what the era was really about. I would say the Aquarian era, 1998, was about where we put our faith for salvation and we glamorized technology. So we could say 1998 to 2012 was the beginning of this ramp up of cell phones and faster computers and laptops, and this idea that technology would save the day. And in Pisces right now, and you might say the Capricorn 84 to 98 was the corporate culture, the big business culture, and how that would save the day. And we did not get saved by the day from the Capricorn era of Neptune in the sign of money and top-down power structures, resources, Wall Street. It didn't really provide us with that. Pisces 2012 to 2025. Well, I mean, if you think about that, that is the beginning of the plant spirit medicine revival. DMT, psychedelics, psilocybin being used therapeutically, being legalized. Weed is now legalized many places. It became a time when Neptune was able in the Pisces era, because Pisces is its home sign, right, to enter into the energy of how we can escape or find transcendent mystical states of consciousness. And one of the notables of 2012 to 25 has been the gaining of public acceptance, popular appeal, and decriminalization of psychedelic plant medicine substances. And I think that's just fascinating. And also in the Pisces era, we also saw in a kind of conspiracy theories rage, and they often had to do with viruses, and some of them were true, because Neptune rules drugs, and Neptune rules things that you can't see that are tiny, right? Like viruses, like sort of hard to it's like a miasma, a fog of what's causing the problem until you get into viral, decoding of the genome of a virus. Even the whole lab leak theory, which turns out mostly to be accepted by major intelligence agencies as true for the virus, pandemic, a virus that came out of China, literally is exactly what the Pisces is. When we think about this Neptune and Pisces era. We also saw the beginning of deep fakes, right? We can't tell if it's a real person on the audio video anymore because of the AI generated content. Deep fakes is a definite part of the imagery and the imagination of Neptune and the sort of sea-like, foggy, kind of unclear, nebulous qualities of Pisces. So we have that too. And finally, you might have noticed Pisces is two fish going in different directions, bound by the tail. And I've seen a great deal of polarization when Neptune's been here in 2012 to 2025. In humanity at large, but in culture as well. And a lot of that polarization has been fueled by one of Neptune's favorites, conspiracy theories, but also manipulation, right? And literally Orwellian attempts to manipulate the public. And so everybody sees, talks, and believes the same thing. And that hasn't quite worked, has it? And lastly, Neptune and Pisces seem to be the decimation of the mainstream media and the movement of people's attention to the online podcasting platforms as their source of information, but also bifurcating the public into the left or the right, or the religious or the not. Like you find your little online true believer club and everybody's happy together. So those are some thoughts. You can see Neptune enters the retrograde zone here. I want you to pay attention to the yellow to go back and understand where we're coming from. Neptune went into the retrograde zone on March the 11th. That means that he was traveling at 27 degrees of Pisces. I mean, that's where he was. And that's called the pre-shadow, because when he turned retrograde on July 2nd in 2024 at 29 Pisces, he would go back as far as 27 Pisces. That means that the retrograde on July 2nd had us collectively and individually walk back to March of 2024 and think it through. Whoa, what fog, what kind of fantasy, illusion, and delusion was I feeding myself? What kind of escapism, what kind of salvation was I looking for? What was I idealizing that wasn't realistic? Because basically anything that you were doing in those veins of, like, get my rose-colored glasses on, thank you, between March 11th and July 2nd, it's plausible that as Neptune turned around on July 2nd, the rose-colored glasses began to lift. Can I use an example for you without anyone killing me on the political front? It didn't take a genius to see that Joe Biden was beginning to have some cognitive decline well before the speech that allowed the debate that completely turned things into a public shock, where people were debating about whether he just had a bad night or if this was indeed some sort of cognitive decline that came with age or whatever else, or maybe Parkinson's. And for people who weren't Democratic or Republican, a Canadian like me or others that I know in Canada, we've been all commenting about Joe Biden's decline for a long time. And then what happens is March 11th to July 2nd, everybody's like, Joe's fine, Joe's running, all is well. July 2nd, the fog rolls back after that debate. And what we see is that Joe's mind is not clear enough, or his ability to communicate may not be clear enough for him to be the candidate. And that's not my opinion. That's what happened. But because people have idealism and zealotry and the kind of religious fervor for salvation when it comes to Neptune, very many hardcore Democrat friends of mine decried me for being completely wrong, and that Joe was in great mental shape. And to this day, some people still say that about Joe Biden. So if you think about it, I want you to consider that Neptune turning direct on December 7th, 2024 at 27 Pisces, backtracking to the very back of, March 11th. He's at the degree he was March 11th. He's going to start moving forward. And my humble opinion is he's going to continually confuse us, because now he's got the full-on fog machine rolling out. And so possibly we'll be in a pretty foggy state of radical, escapist delusion, uncertainty, rose-colored glasses, idealism that's gone, wrong. I would call it almost like fanaticism sometimes when people get caught up in the dark side of Neptune. He has a good side, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But he goes direct on December 7th, and he will not turn around retrograde at all until July 4th next year. And that retrograde will be happening when he's in Aries. So it's really a story in this case that I'd say, looking at him turning direct as a general principle, I don't think it applies to the Pisces themes as far down the pipeline as July. I think that the confusion around all the Pisces themes that I just outlined is as he moves direct December 7th through until November, March the 30th. So December 7th to March the 30th, the Pisces fog machine is in full gear, right? And then March the 30th to July 4th, it is the Aries fog machine that is in full gear. Okay. Well, let's take a look at the sky. I want to show you something before we do. Something big is happening. Something crazy ass big is going to happen. And I can't even tell you what it is. And it's going to happen in 2024 in the last week of January and the first week of March. I will be definitely doing a video on this because I'm absolutely captivated by what this could possibly be. So take a look with me at what I'm about to show you, right? I hope I'm able, where am I sharing? Share. This is a whole analysis worthy diagram. This is queued right here for about January 26th. However, on February the 6th or so, 5th or 6th, this is queued for January 26th, the sky that you're looking at of next year. However, on about February 5th, 6th, you're going to see the North and South node join together perfectly. I mean, the North node joined perfectly together with Neptune. All right, so the North node coming together with Neptune hasn't happened since Neptune has been sitting in Pisces in 2011. We needed an eclipse cycle to happen every 18 years. And this is a very rare synodic cycle. And I'll be talking about that in depth in a couple of videos before next year. But we have a rare Neptune North Node conjunction, and we have Venus exalted here. And we have the asteroid America and the asteroid Ops for abundance, opportunity, and thrival, Saturn for realism, structures, and form. Make the intangible real. And then we have make the dream real. And then we have this asteroid Boracisi. Now it's from a Kurt Vonnegut book, and it's got some dark sides, having to believe what you believe no matter what, trying to convince yourself that what you believe is true. So there's that element of that asteroid as well from a Kurt Vonnegut novel. But I'm just saying, you cannot have this kind of stellium action with its exquisite rarity the last week of January and the first week of February and not consider it to be one of the most important times in 2025. And you'll notice here that Uranus at 23 degrees will be in a profound perfected flow on January 26 to an exalted Venus, while Uranus, though retrograde, is still on the powerful fixed star Algol. This Algol sits on Donald Trump's natal midheaven. The first time he had a Mars conjunction with Uranus to Algol on his midheaven was the assassination attempt. This is not that. Venus exalts the sky. She's a good guy, good girl. She's trying to do something positive here. It happens in Donald Trump's 8th house, however, that she and the stellium exist, 8th house of other people's resources. Now, well, he's gotten the money of Elon Musk or Silicon Valley backers. This could indicate another level of commitment from capitalists or people with money to support something that Donald Trump is trying to do. I don't know, Space Force, laser space weapons, who knows? But this would be other people's money in his pocket or hand, thrival, opportunity, exalted Venus structure form, and dreams become real. You know, people laughed at him with that Space Force thing, but now that we all know that there's basically spaceships flying around air bases right now called drones, good luck with that, and aerial phenomena over Washington, D.C., we're quite clearly coming into a time when a Space Force might make sense. So maybe he wants to build a space platform or something of great magnitude with Elon Musk. And this is the gathering of those resources because this is Uranus and he rules the sky. He's the sky god, Oranos. If anybody covers space, it's asteroid Urania and the sky god Oranos. Back in my video for the Sagittarius new moon, I talked about Urania being on that particular perfectly conjunct the Sagittarius new moon of December. Oh, my dates of January the 30th. And that moon made me think that we're going to see a lot more UFO, alien kind of UAP phenomena coming up. And it also, of course, corresponded with all the congressional testimony by people who were ordained whistleblowers. I would have called that one big controlled leak because they were allowed to speak and they weren't killed before they got there. The truth is already out there and it's already known. All right. So that's just something to share with you because it's coming up in January, February. And I'm just pointing to it because this is an exceptional time. Just one more thing about Neptune in Pisces, guys. Yeah, it's an amazing time to be alive. You know, it happened in the 1800s, and that's when they discovered new textiles and dyes. And there was a particular green that took off that turned out to be poisonous. Neptune was poisons as well, that they were putting on the Victorian walls. But it was a time of more artistic exploration. Different fashions were blooming. But also, Neptune in Pisces is like the spiritualism movement back in the day when they had the sisters and the knocking tables and the seances, and Lincoln had seances in the Red Room with his wife in the White House, and there was a taking off of this idea of talking to dead people, mediumship and seances. And we didn't get that in this Neptune and Pisces, but we got a new iteration of the New Age movement. We had a new wave of what is possibly the channeling version of the New Age movement. Rather than talking to dead people, hello, how are you? It was like, you know, the Ishtar command or whatever. And even though those channelers may have been channeling before 2011, when Neptune entered Pisces, they became mainstream. There's this guy on YouTube who does the energy update. I mean, he's got maybe 1 million subscribers, but I mean, I know that I can't remember his name. He's been around for a long time, but he became popular. Channeling became popular, and the concept of channelers became recognized. And for the New Age movement, what was the fringe of the New Age movement became the mainstream of the New Age movement. And there's been that movement towards acceptance of people's ability to connect to non-altered, in altered states of consciousness, non-ordinary consciousness, connect to beings, realms, whatever, and relay information. The heart. Okay, let's talk about the Sabian symbol. We're going to go for the fertile garden under the full moon. This is rounding up to 28 Pisces because the actual station is at 27. And this speaks to, I'm going to read from my book, The Sabian Symbols, A Screen of Prophecy by Diana E. Roche. She talks about a full garden under the moon, an expansion of consciousness, a deeper understanding of the importance of traditional accomplishments or those achievements that are commonly recognized and valued by the average individual. So basically, and Mark Jones said in his 1953 commentary, Lonely Genius, comparing him to the average individual who is blessed by virtue of his being the collective embodiment of those features that ensure survival of the race. That's kind of complicated. So keywords are satisfaction, accomplishment, affluence, productiveness, fruitfulness, abundance, profusion, prosperity, and manifestation. So take it with a grain of salt. It's a Sabian symbol, but that's where the energy is digging in as it stations direct. And don't forget, we have next year that exalted Venus, North Node, Saturn, abundantia, ops, not abundantia, ops, the asteroid for thrival and opportunity and things that are going to grow. So that's happening, as I just showed, end of January, beginning of March. What else can I say? I'm going to show you the sky. We're going to go through your sign. I'm going to talk about what I think it might mean for you. I'm trying to remember if there's anything I didn't tell you. Again, the dark side of Neptune and the positive side of Neptune. I think I have a screenshot that I wanted to show you. I think I still have it. I just love these keywords. So I'm not going to, I can screenshot and show it to you. Why not? Hang on. So Jessica Davidson is an incredibly good astrologer when it comes to writing articles that I find beautifully, beautifully written. And so she has a few good articles on Neptune and Pisces and Neptune in general. And so what I did is I pulled a little keywords for you guys, just to remind you, like a Neptune refresher before we go through all signs. Here are some keywords when you think about Neptune. This is why Neptune's a tricky bugger. I mean, I've seen him bring enlightenment episodes in my life and the lives of those I know, and I've seen him make them fall for gurus and drink the Kool-Aid and go off the rails with some fanatical nut job of a religious belief or guru follower. So you can be addictions because you're trying to escape from reality, right? Anxiety, compassion, confusion, deception, disillusionment, disintegration, dissolution, dreams at night, Neptune, ecstasy, enlightenment, absolutely escapism, fantasy, fascination, glamour for sure, guilt. I don't know. I've never seen that. Higher octave of Venus, questionable. ideals, inspiration, a higher love, I guess, intangible, madness, yes. Insanity and madness and mental illness are Neptunian, as well as addictions and alcoholism. Martyr complex, merging, mysticism, nebulousness, oceanic consciousness, oneness, psychic sensitivity. If you're born with a Moon Neptune conjunction, trine, or sextile, you are easy with your intuition, square and opposition. You got it, but you're afraid of it. Romantic love, higher romantic love, I'd say. Dreamy higher love, self-sacrifice, sensitivity, spiritual values, transcendence, uncertainty, and the unknown. That's just a quickie for us. Okay, let's go ahead and do each sign and talk about what this means for you. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. I am desperately trying to get to 100,000 subscribers, but things are slowing down. I'm a big whale of a channel now. So give me a boost, because if you're one of my regular followers and you haven't subscribed, I have 66% of you are subscribed, but how about we get to 70%? Because that really is going to help this channel and help it grow. And so if it grows, I'm here to do more videos for you. That's kind of the way it works. All right, I'm going to pull up the all signs. All right. All right, so heading into Aries, and this is going to be one of my shorter videos. I always say that, but this one will be. It's not much to say other than to remind you of where it's happening. Someone's going to ask me what this asteroid is. It's Urania. Looks like the letter A. It's the god of outer space. It's the asteroid for astronomy, muse of astronomy, song, dance, music, astrology as well. Astrology and astronomy were all one in the ancient days. So keep in mind that that's what that asteroid's doing up there. It's having a good old time. Neptune is about, again, the ultimate reality principle. If you want to go with it that way, it's like trying to merge with unity consciousness, God, the one that is all, we are one, the oceanic consciousness. But Neptune also can confuse us and give us, a good desire to escape into oblivion. Life can be hard, and also lose our way because we have a kind of way of seeing the world that is a fantasizing, escapist, unrealistic, imaginal to the extreme. As we look at this sky on December 7th, Neptune will station direct. He hasn't just done it yet, but that's okay. Trust me, he will. And he will be in direct motion all the way through until next July. And for Aries, sun, moon, and rising, this is what's going on. You'll notice that Neptune is going to move forward in your 12th house. And your 12th house is not really a house that has much to do with your everyday life. It's really almost like your ashram, your cave, your sanctuary of aloneness. We don't hang out often with people here unless we're in an ashram. It kind of has that moksha, spiritual liberation quality to it. And it's sort of also where you can look at your deeper soul work, your Akashic records, your inner life, your dream life, what you do here to undo yourself, like because you have a bad habit or an addiction or something you're trying to shake, that it just sabotages your highest escalation of the you-ness in the world. And this energy is asking to go forward now after really rolling back a tide of reflection on that retrograde that began on July 2nd. What did you see since July 2nd? What did you recognize since July 2nd as deeply real and true? Saturn says, make your dreams come true. And now you know where you need to go, because it's kind of like you might have had a fog of a confusion or uncertainty, or not knowing what was true, but thinking you did know it was true, March through July. And then July 2nd, all the way through until this turnaround, you got more certainty, more clarity, more realistic seeing and knowing, especially the word knowing. I think the word knowing is a Pisces word, a real knowing of what it is that you're really wanting for your life. In what regard? Well, certainly in regards to matters to do with your spiritual path, but also what it is you wish to do that Jupiter wants you to do, because Jupiter is actually telling Neptune what to do. Right? It's, hey, Neptune, you're in my house. Here's what I want from you. Best you can. Jupiter's talking to Neptune. And Jupiter might say, go forward on something to do with your writing projects, your travel plans, your in local environment, neighborhood stories, and move in a direction forward, knowing now what you know, now that you've sort of recovered from the fog and are going to be like you cleared the fog. I'm going to call it cleared the fog. You cleared the fog July through to now. And now you can try to move forward without any new fog. And something to do with perhaps projects in creative arts, right now, writing, communicating, social media, websites, teaching, learning, or even travel opportunities connected to your past. Jupiter is retrograde, indicating things that are from the past are being brought into the present. Circe, the witch, means that you can be deeply imaginal and mystical and cast spells for what you want. I'm going to vision board myself on the day he turns direct, do a collage. I'm an Aries sun moon. And the asteroid Bora Sisi is all about the central god of the fictional religion, which was based on lies, written by author Kurt Vonnegut. And so someone created a fictional religion based on lies. Okay. So wanting to believe something so strongly, you have to, you live as though it were the truth. Convincing yourself that what you told yourself is not a lie. So a fictional religion based on lies. You can't get any fictional religion based on lies. You can't get any more Neptunian in the shadow. You just really can't. So I have to say for Aries, I'm just reading that for you, but for all people listening in the future to this, like, sign by sign, be careful for where the station direct tells you to believe something that's based on lies, in essence. Be careful, and be careful now through July 4th, in essence, but really let's go now through the March to 30th, now through March the 30th. Be careful for a tendency to believe something based on lies. Be careful. That's what I'll say for that, because that's the downside of the station. Otherwise, the witch Circe, good for abracadabra manifestation. She turned humans into animals, etc. Transmutation, get your inner witchy powers going. And she's also good for seeing the future. So she's an ally here. I like her here quite a lot. You'll note that last thing I'll say about this is that his position, Neptune, as he goes direct, at the end of the day, he's aiming for you right next year. You are the center focus of Neptune. And so get ready for that. And he's cleaning up your closet. A lot of Aries have been dealing with addiction, self-sabotage, and self-undoing as Neptune entered here in 2011. And you're learning to see not only what true is true, a lot of enlightenment episodes happened for me during that time. That's why I wrote the Awakened Dreamer blog, but also to get out of your own fog machine of your own self-induced illusions and delusions, including addictions and escapism. And so you're coming to the end of a much longer and larger story. Unlike from 2011 until 2023, without Saturn's help, it was really hard to make concrete gains and changes here. But Saturn is your guy with Neptune to say it is time to make real hardcore foundational changes in your life based on the matters of the 12th house. And if you're anybody who makes international borderless income and digital revenue, that means that Saturn is giving you tangible form and Neptune is giving you the vision and the visionary power to make it happen. Neptune does rule all filmography platforms and videography platforms, including all social media platforms like that. And that's also a big part of how you could be tangibly rewarded if you make that kind of money in this life. And that's true, by the way, all the way through till 26 February. So you can still use that power of Neptune for digital filmmaking style, videography platforms. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. First thing I want to say is that in this particular story, you've got this energy of Neptune moving into a station direct on December 7th, but having been retrograde since July 2nd. That indicates that things going on from July 2nd that really do pertain to March, April, May, and June are where you have cleared your confusion. You are no longer in a fog bank and you know what's true and real, hopefully. And the 11th house, true and real, is who are your true friends? Who are your true social groups? Where is the place of your career gains? Is it realistic? Are you making the money you think you need? Or have you been deluded? Did you clear some fog there? I know a lot of Tauruses who went through some great disappointments and friends who let them down when the fog was going backwards on July 2nd through till now. And they had to come to terms with the unrealistic expectations they had on large groups of friendship circles, friends in general, of their career gains, or even sometimes unrealistic expectations or visions or understandings of a sibling one older than you. Now that Neptune is going direct, though, and he's going direct with, backing by Saturn since 2023 to make some long range goals and dreams true. Okay, because that's what happens here. Because Saturn and Neptune make dreams real, and the 11th house is your long-term goals, wishes, and dreams for your life. And so, yes, you're making them real. You're having realistic expectations. But I feel like this direct station with Sorceress, with Circe, is a good collage moment, guys. If you don't do vision boarding or dream journaling or collaging or some kind of visionary experience to concretize this, especially with Saturn there, you're wasting your time. This Saturday is a good time, Sunday even, to go into some kind of visionary trance about what you desire and want, or dream state, or collaging, vision boarding. Google vision boarding. People ask me what that is. Not everyone knew what a vision board was. Vision boarding your life. All right, use it or lose it. Be careful you don't fall for lies. A religion based on lies is Borasisi here. Now, most people today usually don't fall for religions based on lies or religions at all, hopefully. But bottom line, be careful for anything that seems like it's a system of understanding, but it's based on lies. It pervades knowledge, wisdom, and truth, but it's lies. So be careful for that, because you could fall into those clutches between now and particularly March the 30th. That's a warning signal for you, especially in groups of belonging, getting into like a club with a spiritual belief, or a group of belonging with a spiritual belief. Yeeks. Jupiter says make money, right? Jupiter's the lord of what Neptune's up to. Neptune's in the house of gains from your career. Jupiter's retrograding. Make money from things that you've already been doing in the past. I would say that there's some things that you have on the back burner, or old ways of making money and creating gains, that you might pick up and re-enliven, especially through to February the 4th, when Jupiter turns around again. So you've got a lot of maybe making some side hustle money. Be right back. Or going back to make some money and some career gains, creative, artistic, glamorous, Neptune, real, tangible, successful, Saturn, masterful. But Jupiter retrograde says, you should know about this financial way of being. Jupiter is reminding you since June that there's another form of money and abundance that's available for you than the one you've been using. And he will be in this retrograde till February. So it kind of gives you a nice little window of December 7th to early February to really consider what other forms of financial sustenance you may be able to conjure with your envisioning and imagining, and you're making it real. And Jupiter has a few tricks up his retrograde sleeve. Okay. So think about it that way. Otherwise, Jupiter retrograde here is just kind of on a pause button for outer bounty, and he's helping you with your inner bounty as you go deeper into what you value and what you desire to have in your lifetime. Where are your values around money? Where are your values around wealth and resources? Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. What are you going to do? This looks like a sky that's opening up a big shift of energy in your 10th house of career and reputation. If you want to go back to remind yourself of the summertime, on July 2nd or so, he went into retrogradation. And he is telling you from July 2nd until now to really look more clearly, without illusion or rose-colored glasses, at things that you were partaking in March through until the beginning of July. So March, April, May, June, what was going on in your life? Because that Neptune backtracked over that temporal time zone and had you see the real and not the illusional in your career, in your work, in your workspace. So I'm a progressed Gemini sun. I'll use me as an example. No, progressions are not as strong as your natal positions, but I'd say March, April, May, and June. I had a vision that the sky's the limit. I can do, YouTube videos forever and ever, and I can grow my channel to 500,000 subscribers. And then in comes July, and Neptune starts to pull back the fog. Well, he grew my channel, funny enough, because of the Donald Trump assassination prediction and the Walsh prediction and the Biden stepping down predictions that all came true. But he also showed me the burnout factor. I literally realized I can't do this level of engagement and I have to slow down. And so the fantasy was I can do it all. And the reality is I can't. And that's Saturn up there for us, Gemini, in any form. He often brings us to the peak of a mountain and then down the other side, right? He's literally the Saturnian goat, sea goat, right? But goat, he's in a sea sign, but he goes up the mountain and down the mountain. He's there, on the rocky shores. So I find Saturn here is about mastery and authority and reaching a height of some sort. But technically, Saturn here also marks a decline where we start to move away from the thing. You can only get to the top of the mountain. You can't go higher. And then you have to go down to the valley and find a new mountain to climb. And so Saturn here for some of us, Geminis, is telling us that story. And Neptune says, and we're looking at it with our fantasies and our visions and our unrealistic goals until we're not, until he retrogrades and the fog pulls back. Now he's going forward again. Be careful, because between now and May the 30th, well, he's still here, direct motion in Pisces. He will confuse us with the lies, the religion that was built on lies. And we will try to believe some lie that we tell ourselves that we can achieve anything in our career, in our reputation, our social standing, in our success and achievement zone of the sky. That's probably not true. I'm being careful about it. I'm not believing right away. I'm not drinking that Kool-Aid. I need to have a life. I need to have some health protocols. I need to exercise. And Saturn is about that stern, harsh taskmaster of sober realism as well. So, Neptune can pull a delusional, idealistic fog over Saturn's eyes only for so long. And then Saturn says, hey, guys, get real. The sorceress Circe's up here. And that's wonderful. This is really good for, honestly, I think, like spell casting, using it as a magical energetic. I'm going to take the day of the 7th when he goes direct, and I'm going to do a vision board. You do you, but use it to envision or kind of use a little magic, to really see what you want to create in your career, not just as the stationary direct on December 7th, but over the months that follow until the 30th of March, while he is still Neptune direct in your 10th house. Jupiter tells him it's all about you. It's all about you, Gemini. Gemini is where he's sitting, and Jupiter's lord of what Neptune's up to. So Jupiter's probably telling Neptune, tend to the career up there with Saturn and keep things stable, but also add a little spice of glamour and enchantment and divine stuff. It's funny because the other day on my channel, I said something about a higher plan, unconditional, a divine mind. There's a bigger picture than we know. And I used the parable of, the farmer's son gets, hurt and he doesn't go to war, but everyone says, oh no, your son can't farm the land, and a bunch of calamities befall the farmer's son. And all the time the farmer goes, is it good or bad? I don't know. And that kind of, I don't know, and I'm willing not to know, is very unusually not present in our world today. This kind of being in the unknowing, and Neptune means the unknown. Can you be in the unknown in something and not have to declare you know it all? And the reason I brought this up is because I had people troll me for a Christian content. I think they meant Christian content, that I was talking Christian content by saying there's a divine plan and a higher mind. So you can't win these days. But if you have that Neptune placement right now, like, since 2011, you're asking to have an enchanted career, but that leans into the deeper truths, the knowing, the gnosis, and the unknown, right? So yeah, you can't just have a career. You got to have the Neptune career and all of its glory and all of its unglory. So Jupiter says, we're piloting the whole ship here. We're at the helm of the ship, me and you, like me and the Gemini person. He's helping us steer the helm of the ship, the first house. And he's telling Neptune to tend the 10th house of career the best Neptune can. All right. So there's a sense of your identity expanding and growing by changes you're making in the visions and goals and dreams and fantasies that you have for your career. It's not just changing your career, it's changing your identity as a result. Example, I think I might want to start a YouTube channel or add to this one, interviewing people about the AI Woo, no, actually, woo. Aliens, UFOs, out of body experiences. I've had them all. Like it's my wheelhouse, and an enlightenment even, and just get out of just one little niche called astrology. I used to be a journalist. I used to interview people. I was a print journalist, but I had to interview them, so I enjoy that a lot. So that's an example of expanding my identity, right? As I move into another format or another, may create a separate channel just for fun. Those were examples. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. In the sky, you'll notice this story is happening. We have the energetic shift direct of Neptune, December the 7th. This will be through to the 30th of March. Well, he's retrograde direct in the sign of Pisces. This is a time where you could be finding yourself more prone to illusion and delusion. But we're going to talk first about what's happened, right? Back on July 2nd, Neptune station retrograde. And in his retrograde up until now, he was asking you to consider matters from March, April, May, and June of your life, to go back to those time frames. And what were you doing when it came to ninth house matters? Was it things to do with courts or higher education or your spiritual beliefs and faith or foreign travel? And you had some kind of path you were on March, April, May, June. And then, July through to now, you had a fog dispel so you could see what was under the surface, or the foamy waves roll back so you could see what was really truly left and what was under the water that you needed to consider to be most valuable. Certainly, some cancers may have gone into the book publishing industry and had some foggy illusions dispelled and clarity emerge about their success there. I have a friend who published a book coming out into the new year, so March, April, May, June, and then I think wanted to see it like it be a bestseller. I don't think that happened, and so then there's this realism descending upon the person, about what's true, but also the nuggets of what matters, not just what happens, but what matters. So you reach 2 million people and impact none. You can reach 10 people, impact all 10. So that bigger, deeper truth is being questioned by some people who are cancers. And dharma, like, what is the purpose of your life? What is the meaning of your life? You're trying to figure it out since 2011, and now you're getting this chance to clear the fog and move forward. Oh, you did clear the fog, and now you're going to move forward. December 7th to March the 30th. And Circe the Witch says, vision board what you want to achieve in your spiritual philosophy, in your spiritual idealism, in your spiritual life, in your meaning of your life, in your connection to God. This is the house of God. I mean, you can say it's higher education, wisdom, and knowledge. You can say that it's courts and legal matters and judges. It is, but it's also your deepest inner knowing of what your connection to the divine is. And so how can you act into that? How can you move into that December the 7th through to the 30th of March? Watch out for religions based on lies. This is where it's literal. It's so literal because this is the house of churches and religions based on lies is exactly your story here. So I'd be really cautious about that you don't end up in some kind of cult, but otherwise just be careful about what you're choosing to believe that someone says is true. Could even be your professor in university or the judge of the court system. So you might want desperately to believe it is. That's the meaning of that asteroid. So we question your beliefs vigorously. And then Jupiter says, I'm in your 12th house. This is about learning. This is about traveling. This is about far foreign lands. This is about revenue from digital income and borderless revenue. But Jupiter here is activating both learning houses 3 and 9. And I often see this propels people to want to teach or to learn. So the impulse for teaching and learning is here for you right now. And because Jupiter's telling Neptune what to do, right? This time around, he wasn't doing that before, right? I mean, not since 2011. He's telling Neptune what to do in a way that says, are you considering the possibility that you could, enroll in a higher educational program or a skills-based learning even, and go back to school? Like, this is kind of like, or is there somebody you're wishing to learn from who's a mentor, and you're really going to lean into that, being guided, being mentored by somebody who you consider to be wise, good, and true. And that is something coming for some of you cancers between now and March the 30th. All right, Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. First things first, We want to talk about the eighth house of chunky money, where everything's been happening with Neptune since 2008. This could have led you also down a deep mystery path of occult arts. This could be anything from the woo healing paths to tarot, numerology, astrology, hermetic wisdom, manifestation, just all the old hidden occult mysteries and magical stuff. And you might have got involved in like mediumship or channeling. This is what Neptune might have done when he was traveling through Pisces for you. But on the other hand, it's also a house of money that you share with the bank, with the mortgage holder, with the investment companies, stocks, with your spouse, with your inheritance, with your shared resources and assets, with anybody. It's unearned income, guys. And you've got this energy here where Neptune has pulled back the tide on July the 2nd through till now. December 7th. So you could more clearly see, especially with realistic Saturn, what you need to do in your accounting of that kind of money. It could be simple as talking with your partner about the monies you share and organizing the structures better, but it could also have been about seeing what's really there. Like maybe you thought you had more money than you did, or you thought you had less than you did, but now you can see what's really in those shared resources, financial stories for you. And this includes inheritances. Now, if you want to think back to March through July, you might have been a little unsure, confused, and dogged by illusions and delusions until now. Right now, you've got a clear mind. But Neptune will be sitting as he goes direct on December 7th on an asteroid known for a religion based on lies, a book by Kurt Vonnegut. It can indicate you could fall into some more profound misbeliefs about what's true in your financial resources. But because this is an occult house where you have channelers and, all the occult mysteries and all the super woo, be careful, because you don't want to fall into any path that is based on lies, right? That's like the Wizard of Oz and pulling back the curtain and there's nothing really there. So this is the cautionary note for this part for sure. And Saturn wants you to be more cautious and realistic about those kinds of monies you share with others. So keep that in mind as well. Circe says, do some occult magic. Do a magic spell for prosperity. Do an altar for prosperity. Do some kind of talismanic things. This is, you can magically increase sorceress-wise some of your prosperity and chunky money as well over the next few months. Jupiter tells everybody what to do. It's his house, and he happens to be in your 11th house of great gains from your career and benefactors and allies, including your elder sibling one above you, being a source of perhaps prosperity. Jupiter is retrograde, so there's money or prosperity in career gains and maybe from an elder sibling connected to things that are connected to your past or the past. And so, keep that in mind, that you might, as Neptune goes forward and Jupiter's telling him what to do, he would probably, with Saturn also in direct motion, Neptune and Saturn, try to find new sources of money connected to Neptune. Now, some of you could do that through, Instagram, TikTok, all that stuff. Some of you could do that because you're going to get some kind of new occult mystery path going, and it's going to be lucrative. You're going to study like human design, and the next thing you know, you're able to do that and make money. Jupiter in the 11th. But don't forget, the retrograde Jupiter makes me consider that you probably have already thought about this in the past, or this is something that you've encountered. You wouldn't be learning something Jupiter was learning entirely new. Right? Maybe deepening a tool you already have in your occult toolkit, for example. And friends, allies, and benefactors, want to give you some more chunky money. And Neptune says, and it's what you dreamed of. It's what you wanted. It's a dream come true. But watch out for Borasisi, the asteroid of something built on lies. This could be very swindly. Don't give all your money to this group that you just joined, because this is a group over here, because the guru is a liar or something. So be cautious on this through to March the 30th. Forewarned is forearmed. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising. Neptune is moving through your 7th house of relationships, and you've been with alcoholics, drug addicts, and liars, and mentally ill people, and manipulators, right? Ever since 2011, a few of those lemons in your love life. Just happens to be a Neptune in your 7th house problem. Don't worry, he's leaving next year, and for good in February of 2026. Bottom line is, though, if you go back to, March through to early July of 24, you were engaged in a kind of energetic of fantasy. Perhaps you were thinking this relationship is the one for me. This business partner is the one for me. This audience marketplace that I'm reaching out to is my people. Or there was just kind of like a dreamy, romantic, higher love, hopeful vibe going on March, April, May, June. And then it kind of crumbled. Not totally, of course. But then, July 2nd, Neptune starts rolling back the fog and pulling back the tide. And you see what's underneath the surface. And you have to deal with it. And it is something worthy because you're trying to stabilize your relationship. Saturn is checking the engine block in the car. Is it cracked? Or the boat, making sure this is solid to go the distance. And this is a true story. Saturn doesn't quit testing fully until February of 26. And so possibly the pullback from the more fantastical energy allowed for the sober realism in the relationship to business partners, clients, audience, marketplace, significant other. I had a girlfriend, I think she ended her business partnership alliance during that time, the pullback time when she got more realistic about it not working for her anymore. But the things that would have come out of the woodwork that Neptune wanted to show you. And now he's going forward on the 7th. And he's also connecting to Circe, the sorceress. So that can be a little bit of enchantment and magic spells about love and long-term committed relationship. You might want to go for it. Also see prophets and seers who can guide you and give you advice about the future of your relationship. And also, especially Circe Neptune is like, go see a psychic. And then we have good old Borosisi, where are the lies? Something being built on lies, a religion in the story of Kurt Vonnegut's book. But in this case, where do you you or your partner want to desperately believe something and make it true? No matter what, even though you kind of suspect it may not be true, that there's some lies going on here. I don't want to worry you about this. It's just an energy field around this onset of the direct motion that says, be careful for castles in the sky. Do not build something on illusions and delusions. Really get tangible. And I think you're somewhat protected from this here a bit with Saturn. Saturn is like, I got the realism factor, guys. Let's figure it out. And then we have Jupiter in the 10th house of career. A lot of what's going on here, Jupiter is busy with your career, retrograding, giving you a pause button, but he's coming back full steam February through June. So he's looking over at the 7th house, going to Neptune, deal with it over there. All right, I'm busy up here. I'm in the career zone. But if Jupiter wanted to get Neptune to do something that helps in the career zone, it would be, how can you charm and enchant and dazzle and glamorize the situation in your career or with your clients or with your audience? And how can you use Neptune videography, social media platforms to increase your prosperity and success in a career path, and at the same time use the enchantment of visual media and moving visual media to allow for that. Don't forget the Sabian symbol that we're stationing on at the beginning. I told you guys is abundance, productiveness, affluence. So this is from the career direction to the audience, marketplace, client direction. Oh my gosh, I'll never get done. Libra, sun, moon, and rising. Go for it, Laura. You got to get faster on these babies. There's a new beginning in your 6th house. This is about moving forward. And fresh start. He's moving forward after stationing. He's going direct. And Neptune is telling you, let's move forward in our career, our work, our job, matters mostly, and sometimes health. Nebulous Neptune has been here since 2011, maybe making you uncertain, confused, fantastical with big dreams, but no results. Saturn helped stabilize results since 2023, March. So now your visionary dreams and your ideal goals for your career and reputation and your job have some sturdy backbone to go with it. Thank you to Saturn since 2023. As Neptune retrograded, though, back in July through to this moment, he asked you to reconsider the events of March through to July 2nd. What were you doing March through to July 2nd in the work, career, health space, including addictions and all kinds of health problems? What were you doing then? Because then as he retrograded, he pulled back the tide and he said, look more closely. What's going on with your health? Let's get more clear. Let's get those tests in there. And Saturn says, let's get some solid tests done. And so you've been looking more clearly at health, at work, maybe matters to do with rental properties and being more realistic. Ever since he pulled back, my daughter's boyfriend's a Libra, and they decided there's no way they can live in this tiny space together, 4 years already. And so they upgraded. But the realization of that came during the retrograde pullback of Neptune in a house to do with rentals and rental properties. And with Saturn ruling the fourth house of home and property, that makes sense. Saturn says, let's get real about home and property. See, but yeah, they got a nice dreamy high place high in the sky and they love it. It's a nice new place they just moved into. All righty. Jupiter says ninth house matters to Neptune. Let's not forget these two are connected. Jupiter's ruling Neptune. Jupiter might say, let's see if we can pull a little bit of that abundance from the sixth house to me in the ninth house, and leading to some positive developments from this station direct through to March 30th to give you a chance to travel to a far off foreign shore. And or giving you a chance to move into a greater alignment with your purpose in your work, or giving you a chance to succeed in a legal matter connected to matters of debts and work and lawsuits. These are things that could happen vis-a-vis this combination. And don't believe everything you see, right? I talked about Borosisi here. Certainly don't. If your doctor says everything's fine, your lab works great, but you feel like shit, double check. Don't believe lies, but maybe some people don't mean to lie, or don't believe a lie. Like, the Borosisi is telling you lies, a religion based on lies. So don't get some situation in work or health built up on a bed of lies, on a hill of lies. Make sure you press for the truth. And maybe use Thursday to cast some spells to increase your success in work. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. First of all, we have a beautiful energy of the fifth house activation. It's a positive house that has a good fortune. So it's pretty soft anyway. You've had Neptune here, though, and it's really great for the artist. Are you a musician, a songwriter, a painter? What arts do you do? A filmmaker, a screenplay writer, a writer. Neptune really activates the arts, and this is the house of creative expression. So a lot of Scorpios have been really riding high since 2011 on creative expression. Now, go back to, and it's also a house of entrepreneurship and romantic sexual love. So you might have bumped into a few delusional dating moments where some of you Scorpios went all the way in and went all the way back out, going, what the hell? I just got involved with a mentally ill alcoholic, or I just imagined that person was amazing and they lied to me and they were enchanting me with deceptions. So you had a few of those maybe since 2011. We can go here with the direct motion, though, on December 7th. If you go back in time and you consider what was happening in your life, don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. If you consider what was happening in your life, March, April, May, and June last year, then by early July, Saturn said, we're going to reinvestigate all of that. So it's early July till now, you've been really looking more strongly, clearly, with a keen eye for realistic perception at what you might have fantasized as possible in the first part of the year. And that would be about pregnancy, fertility, romance, sexuality, creativity, and entrepreneurial endeavors. So now you've come down to a realistic perspective of what is most likely possible. Saturn, what is possible, and Neptune, what is fantastically possible. And those two are working together. I wonder if you should be careful, however, on the fifth house for some kind of new religion based on lies. In the fifth house, there's no such thing as a religion, but it could be some kind of romance based on lies. If you're out there dating, some kind of fantastical, creative, entrepreneurial opportunity, but it's based on lies. So be careful in between now and March 30th to really scrutinize opportunities here. And Cersei says, cast a spell for fertility, cast a love spell. Cast a love spell. See if you can bring someone into your life if you're looking for someone. Cersei was a spell casting witch. She's conjunct Neptune. And then we talk about Jupiter in your eighth house of chunky money. And this is a house of money fortune, especially winning, but just kind of good luck, good fortune, including money. Jupiter wants to expand your eighth house money. This could indicate inheritance money or chunky money from a stock investment or tax refund or your partner's money going up. But whatever this is, Jupiter, as he's increasing the money, although he is retrograde now until February, he will get back to his work. As he's sitting here, he looks over at Neptune and he's like, okay, how about we get pregnant with great Uncle Joe, reincarnate the dead? Seriously, that's one of the indications here. How about we create a project creatively or entrepreneurial that has passive income, residual income, or chunky money that shows up because of it? How about we connect more deeply to the muse? That's the fifth house of creativity and art and inspiration from the deepest level of our own psyche and soul. Jupiter at the eighth house, moksha as well. All right, so those are thoughts I have about that. And I know we see a T-square here, guys. Obviously I'm going to do a video on that on the week ahead. So just stay tuned for the next best thing coming up on my channel. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. So first off, pay attention to matters to do with your home as we go direct. This is where you live. You've had Neptune in the fourth house all the way since 2011. Some of you have desired to live by water, see God in a sea sign, and probably have accomplished that. At the same time, you have this energy with Neptune that he has just turned around from his scrubbing of your illusions. Right? He got the mop and the pail, and he scrubbed all your fantasies up, especially the fantasies that you were holding March and April and May and June. You had a fantastical misperception of what you could possibly do regarding the home itself and the property and the land and the real estate and your domicile and your domestic private life. But then when he went retrograde, July 2nd through till now, you were much more clear, able to see what was of value and what mattered in your visions for your home and your home life and your domestic life. With this movement into direct motion, and with Saturn here making the dreams of your home and home life real and true and bringing them into form and structure, which is wonderful, right? We could say that you can go forward through till March the 30th and make some decisions and choices based on your sober-minded fog clearing of the last few months, 5 months, but be careful as well, because Neptune generates more fog every time he goes direct. It seems to me that's how it works. And you can also note that we have the asteroid Borasisi here for a religion based on lies and being willing to convince yourself something is true when it's not. So be really careful with that, because it's ultimately going to ask you to really be cautious around property dealings, especially buying, selling land, real estate, moving your home, and just be more careful than you normally would. And you can also do magical spells to find your most beautiful home, or to enchant the current home you have, whatever that might mean for you with Circe here. Jupiter's in the contractual marriage house, and therefore you have unrealistic expectations that you've been harboring, and you cleared the fog July through now about your home life in relationship to a long-term committed love partnership, or in terms of the possibility of even getting into a long-term committed love relationship. Either one is possible. All right. Maybe you realize you can't live in Siberia, in the Antarctic or something, and meet your person. You're going to have to move a little bit closer to an urban center or something like that. Or maybe you realize that this dream home life you were going to construct that was so solid with a significant other is frailer than you imagined. Jupiter retrograde is testing relationships, significant one-on-one relationships, through till February 4th for all of you Sages. Saturn is construction, like he's kind of like the foreman, the architect, and Neptune is dream. If you're trying to construct your dream home, and this is a possibility since 2023, you still can do it. But if you don't believe everything you hear from the contractors or anyone else who's telling you what legal documents connected to a home building, just be careful to have a second set of eyes on them. All right, Capricorn, sun, moon, and rising sign. Number one, you're going to go through this cycle here where you got the energy going on of a new beginning, of a fresh start, like moving forward kind of thing of Neptune at on the 7th of December. I'm losing my steam in your third house. So I want you to consider that 2011 Neptune entered here, really. It was 2012, but 2011 he ingressed for a while. And you got this experience of a kind of Neptunian vibe with neighbors, neighborhood, travel, online social media, aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews, younger sibling, and siblings in general. All this energy, was kind of nebulous. First you were clear, then you weren't clear. Then you were foggy, and then you were certain. A Capricorn who went through some significant challenges with his sibling, another one who went through some significant challenges with his neighborhood and neighbors. So this is a place where you've been in some, and your daily routines. And Neptune makes you unmotivated. And the third house is the workout room. It's all the local establishments. You might have been pursuing a lot of Neptune escapist addiction vibe in bars and restaurants as well. Anyway, Neptune is going to say this story. I'm going to give it to you more succinctly here. Beginning last March of 24, this March of 24 to the 2nd of July, you engaged in some unrealistic expectations likely to do with those people of the third house or those situations, including travel, including learning, including social media worlds, including things to do with your everyday environment. And then in July, and then after that July right, then in July 2nd till now, you've been getting way more clear about that situation with those peoples or those places of the third house. If you have a writing project, you could have rewritten it. If it's social media land, you realize the landscape of the social media land is toxic and you have to pull back, or you have to get realistic about something. Saturn's been here in this travel and neighbors and neighborhood house and siblings ever since 2011. So Saturn's been here since 2023. So since 2023, in general, you're just more realistic and you're more sober-minded. But this could also mean hardship for a sibling or hardship for an uncle or niece or nephew or cousin. And maybe with drugs or addictions, Neptune. But anyway, as Neptune goes direct, watch out for lies, religion based on lies, Boris CC sitting here. Don't fall for some kind of story you're being told online, especially. This is the online social media platforms, which are huge brainwashing platforms where everybody agrees to agree in one community. You know what I mean? We all get together and we're like the in club of our delusion. So be careful for that kind of social media landscape where you're going to fall into some kind of religion of lies. That could happen. But because this is your local hood, it could even be you just join like one weird church in the neighborhood, and next thing you know, you're in a cult. So be careful for that. Use your witchy ways, cast spells for positive benefits for siblings, aunts, uncles, cousins, for yourself as well. If you're engaging in the online world, definitely be good to put garlic cloves and evil eye protectors around you, because the online world is a freaking dartboard. If you're an online content creator, you're just basically a dartboard for people. So for a lot of people, not everybody. So be careful if you are there. The Circe could be very much like a ward off spell. Do things light your sage to keep yourself feeling better about that environment, really. You move a lot when third houses are activated. It's not the home, it's not the nest. So a lot of Capricorns have been moving around quite a bit since 2011. I've seen that with all my Capricorn clients. And so this kind of fog of confusion around where you're supposed to land, right, will be over when Neptune and Saturn enter your fourth house next year and into 26. But we'll be doing a whole video on that. Jupiter says work. Wants you to find some work. Do you have to travel for work? Do you have to apply for a job? Do you have to get a job online? Is it social? Do you have to check your LinkedIn? Is there someone reaching out to you? There's something about work and career and job connected to the direct station. And this is going to be true. Work, job, career matters, perhaps, indicating yes, December 7th through to March 30th. Oh, Aquarius. Yes, I am indeed one of us. We have been under a huge amount of intensity with Pluto, haven't we? And let's just not talk about that now. I've already got a video out on this Pluto Venus story. Watch my Monday video that came out Monday if you want to watch more, but that talked about the UFO phenomena as well. I'm in the middle of a YouTube dumping subscribers out every third month on my channel. Let's so you know, it's every December, March, June, September, and I'm back in December. My channel is barely moving in terms of subs this month because YouTube is dumping you out the bottom. Please double check to see if you are subscribed. They say they're taking the bots out when I call them. They're just taking you guys out too. So please resubscribe if you've been unsubscribed. I should say that at the beginning of every video through the month of December. Now I realize it's an algorithmic scrub of my channel subscribers out the bottom. So it doesn't matter how many are coming in. They're dumping other ones out. Closed accounts, bots. I don't believe them. Okay, so Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. So Neptune in our second house since 2011. I fell for a few get rich quick schemes. I thought pie in the sky, sales and marketing funnels. I can't believe I wasted as much money as I did since 2011 learning how to not make money. So yes, I've been totally swindled here. You too may have had troubles with your money where you want to make money that's in a spiritually aligned way that connects to creativity, etc. Neptune here means making money through filmography, video, music, storytelling, screenplay writing, photography, glamour, on YouTube, online platforms that involve videography like YouTube. So that's just a literal thing that you've been going through, and I've been going through it too. And yet at the same time, we can have a deep spiritual, authentic alignment with the work we do with Neptune here, providing for money that's coming through a spiritual connection to our truer path. Now, Neptune retrograde, and since 2023, Saturn is giving us realistic expectations and goals. And Saturn is saying, and the dream can be made real. Thank you. So we've kind of got like a architect of our fantasies and dreams here to support the building of some kind of financial success. And that's been true since 2023. Simple example, I incorporated, right? So that's now we teamed up with Neptune. It's to make your dreams real through financial structures and conservative spending and accountability and responsibility. Those two don't mind being together here. Really, it's good for your money as an Aquarius rising. But Neptune is still prone to delusion and rose-colored glasses that he thrusts upon us. And so I want you to go back to March and April and May and June, and what were you doing? Because that was when Neptune was making a lot of fog through his fog machine and giving you some confusion about what was really attainable or possible in your second house of financial matters, values as well, resources. And the retrograde was to pull back the curtain and show you what was real and reasonable. And it's the same thing I said for my Aries rising, Aries sun. It's like, I can't work this hard. The unrealistic part of it is biting off a lot more than it was reasonable for any human being to chew. What do I mean, guys? I don't want to complain, and I'll talk about you, I promise. But, I do my own graphics. I do my own customer service. I do everything. I'm a one-woman show. That's just as simple as that. So I need to delegate next year. So I say you could find that there's something about the way money comes to you that you had to reassess July through till now and ask yourself what's real, reasonable, realistic, enduring, discipline, enduring, and sustainable Saturn. And now that you've got that clarity, you're ready to go forward between now and March 30th with those lessons under your belt. Just be careful because he'll still generate new fog in his direct motion. And that fog may involve a religion based on lies. That's Forrest that's sitting right with Neptune as he goes direct. Now, obviously, the second house isn't a religion, but there are religions of money, right? There are a lot of financial schemes that are like, all about how you can make money only if you, I don't know, whatever, cut your vows of poverty. I don't know. It's just be careful for almost like a religious, like, something built on lies. It doesn't have to be religious. Something built on lies. Be careful that you don't begin to become enchanted by something that is really not true and that it's like you want to desperately believe it could be, but it's not. I don't know what it'll be for each of us, but it's about our resources, our money, and our earnings. And then we also have to note the Jupiter and Circe. This is Cast a Prosperity spell. I just love the bracelets by Otter Spirit. I didn't promote them this time. I should always mention I'm always wearing their amazing jewelry. Check my description box for 20% off if you buy through my link. But I just ordered their Prosperity Trio. And I told the owner I want to do an enchantment and I want to see if it works and I'll share it with my channel. So this is classic Circe Neptune, like get your money magic on, right? So I'm doing my money magic. This is what it is. And that's in the mail. And hopefully it gets to me with the postal strike in Canada. What else can I tell you? Jupiter, he's in the house of good fortune. Do not sweat it. He's making golden eggs of prosperity here, and prosperity from what you do in and from your home. Gains of the second, especially if you use the internet, are here. But he would say to Neptune something like, well, he would say we could try to win the lottery, especially if it's a ticket from something you've like left under the sofa. He's retrograde. So he could say, hey, now that you're making dreams come real financially over there with magical spells, I can win the lottery from that lottery ticket that you've played 100 times before, like literally repeating themes or something to do with, but he won't go direct Jupiter until February 4th. So keep that in mind. He's not going to full on out picture everything. And we don't have to worry. Neptune still doesn't move out of Pisces until March the 30th. But in the months that follow, you may have a lucky strike, a lucky financial strike of some kind. It could be something just takes off and it's going to be good fortune financially in a way that feels like you won money. It doesn't have to literally be winning money, but it feel like you won the jackpot. And that will be true between now and the 30th of March. Oh, and Jupiter says a lot of things, but he could be also mentioning to Neptune to pay attention to fun, play, inspiration, and the muse, because making money without that is not a life, right? That's what Jupiter would try to let Neptune understand. Because Neptune wants to make your money dreams and vision boards for financial wellness true. Saturn's adding the backbone to it, the scaffold, the architecture of it. And then Jupiter's like, yeah, but fun, guys. That he's in the house of play, fun, pleasure, and joy. And if you're not having inspiration, fun, creativity, what's it all for? And that's also entrepreneurial businesses. And finally, Pisces. So Pisces, this is the sign of you where this is action is happening. Have you felt unmotivated, spacious, vast, enlightened, at one with the universe, merging with all that is, confused, addicted, escapist, lost, and dazed since 2011, on and off, alternating from those two states of being? Because a lot of Pisces have, because you have a once in a lifetime journey of the sign, your sign, having this transit of Neptune at home in his kingdom, according to modern astrology. Now it's coming to a close for good in February of 26. It's tiptoeing out next year for just a smidgen. It'll be gone for a while, from the 30th of March through to October 22nd. You'll have Neptune in your money house, helping you find new visions and goals for how you wish to make money. But while he's in your first house still, he's finishing up loose ends. So go back to March, April, May, and June of this year, 24. And you may have had some really bold, fantastical dreams and goals and visions for what you wanted to become. I am blank, happy, healthy, prosperous, married, widowed, divorced. I am a teacher. I am I am an astronaut. The I Am house was being given all kinds of visions since 2011. And the visions you were holding March through July 2nd of this year may have been untempered by realism, although Saturn was trying to help make things real. But Neptune pulled back the illusion and the fog on July 2nd. And through to this moment, you've been seeing with razor clarity what's really the nuggets underneath the soil or the wavy froth of the sea of your Pisces identity, and what is it you want to be? Not become, be. What are you? What do you want to be? Just be the thing you want to be, Own it, absorb it, be it, become it, maybe, I guess. Because this is where you have new clarity. I think July through to now, you've had enough episodes of realism that you became really more solidly available to a simple, unadorned realistic clarity of who you want to be in the world. It doesn't matter, be in your love relationship, be with your children, be in your marriage, be in your career, be in your domestic life. It's where you want to be newly identified as something. Now, one thing I'll say is that you want to be careful about that whole idea of religion and Borasisi, but you would be the one creating this religion based on lies. You would be the one coming up with some kind of fabulous story that is too good to be true, and you desperately want to believe your own fabulous story. And it could be about your marriage because you're looking directly across at the marriage house, but it could be about anything. So keep that in mind. What Jupiter says is, I would really like you to consider your home life. What are you doing in the domestic life? Are you teaching? Are you hatching golden eggs of prosperity in the home? He's retrograde till February 4th, after since October 9th. And so you're deepening your bounty here, going back, going inward, rethinking, revising what it is you want to do that is about joyful bounty and prosperity in and from the home, although you can just be lucky in the home as well. But it's who you want to become in the home that can create the prosperity. And Jupiter probably just says, I'm giving you a lucky, expansive home nest, or goodness and joy in the home nest, for you to be able to figure out your identity. And through till March the 30th, with Neptune moving direct and Jupiter is still in your 4th house, I'd suggest that a lot of you, as Jupiter retrogrades, which is about the past, to look into your childhood, because a lot of you need to learn or understand or grok what Guru Jupiter has to teach you about the ways your childhood informs your current identity. The way your parents spoke to you, the message they gave you, the way your life went in your childhood is being Jupiterized, which is you're going to go into a place of expansion and growth because you reviewed the past, particularly your childhood. So this is a great opportunity as Neptune goes direct to continue to excavate childhood stories about who you're capable of being and what you're capable of doing and becoming in this lifetime. Because this energy is going to amplify once that North Node enters your sign in January. And for a year and a half, not only is that North Node intensifying the expansion of identity, but eclipses are making it happen. And this is your preparatory time between now and March the 30th. With Neptune still direct in your sign and Jupiter still in your 4th house, to finally excavate that stuff. Because Jupiter will move into your 5th house and it will flow to the nodes of fate. And I do love 2025 because Jupiter flowing to the nodes of fate hasn't happened since the late 1990s during this eclipse cycle. And it's going to be fabulous for you, Pisces. You're going to love yourself so much better in 2025. It's beyond what you can imagine unless you go back to like 1997, 98, 99. And some of you may have felt that spaciously yay you back then. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. I am off to dinner with my girlfriends and at a little place in town, and I'm going to enjoy it. This is December 4th. My Patreon community gets everything early access, ad-free. They'll be getting this probably tomorrow, and I think you guys are getting this on Sunday or Saturday. So take care. Have a wonderful journey through reality. I'll see you on the next video.